recording now. So what I'll do is I'm going to hand over to Lorraine Kirkwood. Lorraine, who's Head of Service for Monkey Puzzle Glasgow Central Nursery and After School Care. And I'll let Lorraine introduce herself to you. Delighted to have Lorraine with us this afternoon. Just due to busy work commitments and things that happen in the real world of the workforce, things happen. So it's really good that we've got Lorraine this afternoon as part of our webinar series. Change the screen, and all being well, you should see the first slide there and a picture of Lorraine as well. So Lorraine, I will mute my microphone and allow you to introduce yourself and then go into your presentation.
Thank you. Well, hello everyone. I'm Lorraine Kirkwood. I'm the Head of Centre of Monkey Puzzle Glasgow Central, which is part of a franchise of 58 nurseries, and we are the only monkey puzzle at present in Scotland. I have been the Head of Centre here for 18 months since opening, and I have been a Head of Centre for 10 years plus. I'm qualified with 2 degrees and a postgraduate diploma, HNC and HND in childcare and education. And it would help if I could open up the presentation. Oh man. Is George still there? George! Okay, we've got it now. Sorry guys, this is all new to me. It's a technical step, I think, past sending a text, and it's a bit more complex than I thought. Okay, well, Monkey Puzzle, as I said, has been open for 18 months and a vital part of our development as a new business was to employ a staff team that were going to be nurtured and be able to take us through the changes that were going to come with a new service as we grew in capacity, as we grew as a team, and as we grew within our community. Employability has helped me as a head of centre be able to grow my team and nurture youth that live within the area and help them gain a qualification within childcare. The picture above is Dion Cassidy. She came to us before her 16th birthday last year and was based on an employability workplace programme and came as just a work placement for some experience. Dion really shone at placement, and we felt that she was everything we were looking for in an apprentice. Dion had made some bad decisions, had taken some wrong turns, and school really wasn't for her. And I think with the employability placements and the apprenticeship programs, it really allowed Dion to shine as the individual that she was and to help her grow and understand how she wanted to be and what she wanted to do. Sorry guys, I'm still finding this hard to turn pages. Thank you. So why is it on-the-job learning really important for placement employers like myself? It allows the candidate an opportunity to show themselves in a positive manner. On paper, people like Dion may have not got through an interview or even to the interview process, but when we had the person in front of us, you can see the potential that is there to be developed or to be encouraged. The employer can see how the candidate can enhance their team. Dion had a number of skills that she didn't even realise were skills, and when she came to see us, she was able to draw. She was very practical and done dance. And we felt that these were skills that she had even overlooked as a skill set because it was just something that she found fun and that she'd done. It allowed the current staff also within our team to meet her, see how she was going to fit into the team, and also allow the staff to look and see who was going to be able to mentor her, develop the skills. And this was a big thing for me as a new team. It was really important within what we do to reflect, to mentor, to share practice, and through allowing the staff to make connections and be part of the process, it's really helped the job shadowing aspect with other staff and build their confidence. As an employer, it's allowing me to invest into our local community. I'm based in a largely populated area within Glasgow, which is very focused on regeneration. We're based in the Gorbals, which has had a lot of stigma for a number of years, and through the hard work of the council, the local housing authorities, and the local community, they're slowly developing the Gorbals as the place that you would want to be part of your community. And it's allowing me to build strong partnership working with people like our local schools and colleges, and also even our local skills program within the employability aspect. It's helped lift the company profile. We've been able to enhance our reputation, showing that we're investing not just in the children that are learning and using us, but the people and the community around us. And that's been a vital part of our growth. And we couldn't have done it without the support of the employability network that we have built with L&G Learning and BNG and a couple of the local colleges. So it's all helped put the jigsaw pieces together as a growing company to help not just invest in the community, but the team that we're building and the ethos that we're trying to establish and filter, make it a great priority for them to be part of. And we're finding that the youths that are coming even on placement are getting a greater understanding that it's not just playing with Lego. How hard can it be to play with children all day? It's a couple of lines that have been used over the past few months with people that came thinking it's an easy option, and within the first 2 or 3 weeks of placement they realise that there's a lot more to it than that. So it's also allowing the people that are looking to become apprentices that it's giving them a taster before they sign up. It's like trying before you buy, which is a great analogy for them to say, yes, I can do this, or no, it's not what I thought it was going to be at all.
Lorraine, can I just come in there and give our colleagues who are listening an opportunity to ask any questions about the first part of your presentation there, and they can use the chat box. Again, I'm probably jumping in here, but that was a really nice story about Dion. I think that's and a super quote. Could I maybe ask you a question about the importance of the recruitment process? I'm just wondering if you've got any advice and guidance for our colleagues and myself who are listening around, what makes good positive recruitment, and would help you as you do invest in your local community.
Well, safer recruitment within our organisation or our industry is quite complex. It usually takes about 10 weeks for us to be able to get a candidate from interview stage to starting. That can be down to the fact that their PVGs may take a length of time depending if they've been PVG'd or just going on to the PVG scheme. And also we take up 2 references, and sometimes the schools can be very hard to track down, especially if you're recruiting somebody over a holiday period, and you have to wait for the schools to come back. I think the key thing is that can be quite soul destroying for us as employers is you invest that 10 weeks of interviewing, second interviews, they come for a day trial, you've put them through and paid for their PVGs, and you've taken the time to get their references and their medical and order them uniforms, and then they come to start. And like that, they're in the door 2 days and they think, no, I don't like this is not for me. Whereas that's fine for them to be able to say that, and that's their, their right. But it can be very hard for us to then start that process again, and it takes another 10 weeks or maybe 8 weeks if we're lucky to get that person. So I think having people try it, or come for a placement is the key, because they'll either know that they're wanting to participate it and continuing on with it, or they're going to know at that point that it's not right for them, which takes a bit of the agonising stress from our end, away, that you're not thinking, are they going to, are they going to last? Because we find it very hard that it's a care service. We're offering a care, package to very vulnerable young children, and continuity of care is vital. And you don't want to have a turnover of staff, and you want the staff to gel and bed in, and you want every member of your team to feel, valued. And I think the key thing is asking the correct questions and making them aware that it isn't just painting and playing with Lego. The amount of paperwork and health and safety and risk assessments and development awareness that is needed to be a good practitioner, um, is vital. And I think people sometimes think it's an easy option because they've maybe got a brother or sister and it's not really that hard. So I think the key thing for us would be to ensure that you're asking, it's not just, well, it's the only thing that somebody told me I was good with kids, or I tried hairdressing and I didn't like it. I think it's about getting to the point of why they want to take on that apprenticeship, and if they've really thought the whole process through of the start to finish. And I think that would help us as an employer nurture, or be able to nurture them in a greater capacity when they come through for their placement. We can usually tell within the first week to 10 days of any placement if a candidate is going to make it and accomplish, their apprenticeship within the 18-month time span. So, yeah, I think it's, important that candidates realise that it's not an easy option, because it isn't. I hope that maybe answers your question to a point.
No, that's great. Thank you, Lorraine. And there's a nice comment from Mandy, one of our colleagues, saying she really liked the opportunity to mentor. So that's a nice piece of feedback for yourself, Lorraine. But Leslie's got a question there, and she said, "Hi, Lorraine. Do you rely on L&G to supply the appropriate candidates, or do you prefer to meet and interview the candidates for the placement opportunity?"
I've done both with L&G. They've maybe I've got quite a good rapport with Andrew at L&G, and we spent quite an extensive time when we first set up, to work with them, explaining the kind of candidate or the kind of aspirations and expectations we had as an employer and what we were looking for. So Andrew was quite good at tapping in, saying, I think this girl meets, or this guy meets your criteria, couldn't I send them along? But we've also, on the other hand, put advertisements out, and we have went through the process of inviting them in to do one-to-one interviews, to participate in some group activities, over a morning, and then whittled down the candidates to say, I would really like these two girls to come and, be on with yourselves. And so we've done it both ways. We have had a couple of candidates that have come through that look good on paper, and I'm sure you have all got those candidates, but when they come into the workplace, something happens or something just doesn't click, and, they're not as great as what you anticipate them to be, and it may just be nerves and you need to do a bit of nurturing, and by week 2 or 3 you can start to see their real personalities. But I think the communication between people like L&G and the employer, if they have the job spec and the kind of person spec, and they're quite in tune to the candidates that they have, then it can work both ways. And we really haven't had an issue either way. There's been quite a mutual respect between us. If I phone up and say I've got a really good candidate, um, would you consider her? And Andrew's been send her along and we'll have a chat. So so far it's been positive both ways.
Okay, thanks very much, Lorraine. I'll move your next presentation slide on.
Thank you. The benefits of the employers giving the candidates feedback throughout their placement. I find this vital. We find that a number of the feedback points that we have been given by the candidates that we have is that they feel that we treat them like and respect them like a member of the team. Our trainees or apprentices are invited to all staff meetings. They're also undertaking an all staff training, and they have a peer mentor. And I think that peer mentor plays a vital key role in allowing that candidate to gain confidence. And it's by the staff encouraging them, giving them positive feedback when they're on the floor, and speaking to them about things like, oh, you do dance at the weekend. Well, how could we introduce that in here? Or have you got any ideas? So my qualified and senior staff spend a number of opportunities working with them to ensure that we're building confidence, so that you can actually see the whole individual that's going to be presenting. It's not the nervous wee girl or guy that's standing there on the first day looking a bit shell shocked. As the week goes on and they peer up in the buddy, they embed in, and you start to get a better true reflection of them. It also allows the candidate to reflect and use the constructive criticism to improve when their skills and knowledge. At the placement, it may be that they've came and at the start of the placement it's not been as positive as they thought, or their nerves have kicked in, or they may have had issues with their timekeeping or attendance. And from the placement point of view, we will always give quite a detailed feedback at the end of each week to the candidate, so that there's no surprises or shock. But at the end of their placement as well, we give them key pointers to allow them to be able to maybe improve before they go into our next placement. So maybe our placement was their first ever time in the workplace, and the reality of it's not quite school. So we find that saying, it's really important about your timekeeping, or it's really important that when a staff member asks you something, that you don't reply in this manner or that manner, or I would maybe change your tone to this or that. And it allows the candidate to use this and enhance their experience or their skill set for going on to the next placement, which may lead to an apprenticeship. It's also vital that they can put down that they've been there for that time and used it on their CV. We find that when we look at CVs, if people have done some voluntary placement or a workplace and they've got a feel for a nursery, we're more likely to invite them in as a candidate for interview, due to the fact that they've been in the environment and understood what it's about. It also allows the candidate to use the feedback to enhance their chances in future placements and building confidence. We find that we've had a couple of girls that have had not the best first placement, but have been really keen and went away and done a couple of other things, went into call centres or other industries, but come back to wanting to work in childcare. And L&G have phoned and says, look, could we maybe give this girl another placement chance? And we've found big improvements on the second placement, because they're more aware of what's expected, and also they've used the feedback to change maybe their tone or their attitude or the way that they're addressing people. So it can be very positive. it also gives them greater insight and awareness into what we as an employer is looking for. I think schools are very good at making everybody believe that they can be all they can be, which is phenomenal. We do it at nursery, everybody, can achieve something. But I also think the reality is that they have to understand that in the workforce there is a hierarchy and there is an etiquette of professionalism and the way we speak to each other. And I think schools sometimes have overstepped that and everything's very casual and very lax. So it allows them to kind of reflect and think, right, okay, I'm not their pal or their mate or hey, missus. It's about being able to have dialogue that is going to be acceptable within the workplace. And I think these are all things that come out through a work placement.
Thanks, Lorraine. Mandy's got another question there. It's does L&G progress appropriate candidates through Certificate of Work Readiness?
Yes, they do. And at the end of their placement, they're also given a letter of recommendation from myself to say that they have completed their placement. Or if we're offering them apprenticeship, we give them their kind of end of placement appraisal with a letter of congratulations, offering them the place. We do it in quite a formalised way, which they quite like, and L&G give them a bonus for getting an apprenticeship at the end of their placement.
Thanks, Lorraine. I'll probably get a row from our colleagues who are listening, but again, it's purely personal interest here. But have you got any thoughts on how we can attract more men into the care service industry?
Well, I am a big advocate for men. I'm actually one of the most unique services probably in Glasgow because I have four men that work for me at present. Two that are fully qualified, one that will qualify in June, and one that we have just taken on to do his work-based apprenticeship. So I think the stigma is changing about what a nursery practitioner is. It has more aspects now with the degree that you can link into teaching and coaching and different things like that. And I think it would be mainly down to the marketing and the wording of how you attract. I don't think you're going to have mass influx. It's not like motor mechanics or plumbing or electrician that you're going to have a big influx. But I think those that do want to work will be more attracted by the more masculine side of the practitioner kind of role at present, which is about sports coaching and developing and nurturing the aspects of different aspects of the CFE. So I think attitude is changing. I think you're starting to see more male role models within education, but I think it still has to come from school up that, and it might be people like myself getting in and speaking at appointments when they're going off on study leave or looking to take on a role to explain what it is the job is. It's not just about changing nappies and only if you're gay, which was a big thing. We still get parents that will come in and say, "Oh, is he gay?" And I'm like, "No, his name is Mark." And it doesn't matter if he is or he isn't. But I think that stigma is changing, and I think it's very much down to how the Scottish Government are changing what a practitioner is and also how it can lead on to teaching qualifications or coaching or opening other avenues. So I think you may find that men will start to become more involved within the industry over the next maybe 5 to 10 years. But for now, it'll only be if they come to you, offer them a placement and see if they like it.
That's great, Lorraine. It's certainly very interesting for my own area that I work in when I'm working in about education sectors. One last question. It's fascinating stuff, Lorraine, but I'd like to ask Stuart, our colleague Stuart's question. Is there any training that you feel is missing from the classroom that could better prepare young people to perform appropriately in a working environment and develop a good work ethic?
I have a 15-year-old. This question, if I had the answer to, I would probably be a millionaire. Um, I think mainly within the classroom, I think it's how people communicate with each other, and also they have to get back to the basics of how to write a proper skill set on a CV. At the number of spelling errors and text talk that we get in a CV, um, is highly shocking. And I think if the schools prep them better about, making sure that they have the correct layout of a CV, that the spelling's correct, that when you go into a workplace, it's about having a common courtesy and respect for your elders. I think it's gone back to the old kind of morals and respect. I think we've lost to a point, and I'm not saying that when you come in you have to bow down and kiss me and shine my throne. That's not what it is. But when you come to the door, say, hello, I'm here for an interview. Not, hiya, I was told to come here. You see the boss woman. So I think they have to be aware that their conduct and the way in which they carry themselves and use their communication is vital for how that first perception can come across. And also, we are a customer-based service. We are offering a care facility, and parents are paying a lot of money to put their children in our care, and it's vital that the people that are representing not just the company but the education of the next generation present themselves as professional and able to communicate cross sector with a bit of ease and a bit of dignity. And I think that is what's lacking just now in the classrooms, in my personal opinion.
Thank you, Lorraine. I'll move on to your next part of your presentation, which is feedback for advisors.
What we find would be really great for us is candidates need to know a little bit more about the industry before coming on placement. I think it would be really good that if you had a really good one-to-one with the employer, maybe make a video diary, help the candidates gain a better visual before their visit. This is the layout of the nursery, this is how many kids are in the nursery, this is the woman that's in charge of the nursery or the guy in charge of the nursery, these are the dress codes. Things like that would help maybe give a candidate a grounding or a foundation that they're not coming into kind of like rabbits and headlights. Um, Maybe doing a guide with the employer of what to expect through the transition so that it becomes less stressful. And it may give them more confidence when they're entering the workplace. What to bring in your first day, what to wear. Is there facilities for teas and coffees and lunch? Are you going to have a mentor? How to get to and from. I know usually they've been for a 10-minute visit, but it's usually somebody's holding their hand, brought them over, dropped them off, and left them for 10 minutes. So I think maybe having what the employer is going to expect, maybe a bit about some of the policy, like our timekeeping and attendance. I'm very much that if you're here in placement and you're going to be absent, then you're treated the same way as a staff member and you have to follow our absence policy. So maybe just giving them a better understanding of, the world of work and what's going to be expected at that level. By doing these steps, this will help to ensure the candidate understands the environment a bit better, and will be they'll not be. It's not play. They are playing with children, and it's all about play. But there's more to it than that, and I think they have to understand. I think some of them come in actually look quite shocked when you ask them to stack a dishwasher or scrape a plate or sterilise some toys at the end of the night, because all that infection control and health and safety and part of keeping the environment safe is a big part of what we have to do as practitioners in a day. So it isn't just picking up the Lego or painting a nice picture or going to the park on a walk. There is more to it, and I think maybe having a job spec to a point, or what's going to be expected of them when they're on placement, may give them a bit more clarity. As an employer, we encourage a 4-week placement induction booklet, and this is completed. I don't know if you do this, but I created it, and this was to allow the candidates to collect evidence on their placement and list their skill sets that maybe they've learned or not really thought or appreciated as a skill. And we sign it off on a week-to-week basis, and they get a weekly update from their peer buddy and their room leader. And this helps the candidate realise how important strong communication is. And it also stops issues escalating, or maybe things that may have an impact if they continue on, where a quick conversation to say, sometimes you can come across as a bit abrupt. Is it nerves, or is it just you're a little stressed, or is there something, are you maybe not gelling with that person? Can we maybe move you somewhere else? Or is it the age group, or is it just not for you? So I think making them aware it's all right to have a voice and air their concerns, or know where to go to express a view or an opinion in a proactive way is key for the candidate to do well at placement, and also for us to allow them to shine and hopefully let them progress on to an apprenticeship. And these are pictures of the team. We're investing in developing our staff team. That's the most important resource to us in the early year service. You can have all the toys in the world, but if you don't have the staff that are able to engage, stimulate, develop and support, then the toys are just toys. They're not going to have an impact on any of the children's learning. So I think it is vital that we invest in our team and the environment that the children are coming in, and overall then it will give breadth, balance and help us to continue to shape our next generation. And that's really what our ethos is. It's about promoting and offering as many learning experiences, not just to the staff and children, but around the community, to make people aware of how important our next generation and the input that we put in now is vital. Thank you for listening to the presentation.
Thank you, Lorraine. As someone who's listening to that, I've learned a huge amount. Before I kind of summarise, before we and give our colleagues who are listening time to do some questions. Yeah, I was interested in your contribution around induction, and Ian Graham said, would you be willing to share your induction booklet with our colleagues from SDS?
Of course, not a problem at all. It's all about sharing practice and developing and things. That wouldn't be a problem. I can get that over to you, and Gary, and you can distribute it amongst whoever would like it.
That would be it.
What we cover is things like the basic induction, knowing that they know the fire, manual handling, and the first couple of days it's the health and safety, where to find things, housekeeping, and then we go into the room that they're in, who's going to be their peer buddy, the kind of tasks that they'll be set out in the first week that they'll take ownership of, and then that's reviewed at the end of the week, and then the second week is about their communication and their engagement with the children, and the staff giving them, a little bit of coaxing into maybe allowing them to start doing activities, asking them to kind of participate in ideas for the planning, and then taking whatever skill set they have and maybe adapting it to help build confidence. So yes, happy to give you that booklet, no problem at all, Ian.
That's fantastic, Lorraine. If you just send it to me, I'm having a a day's work with our colleagues from SDS, so I'll make sure that that is passed on. I think when I was listening to Lorraine there, I've got a quick question, Lorraine, is do most of your participants move on to a positive destination then? Because it all sounds really good, the experience that you're providing for your participants.
We have had 10 participants in the 18 months that we've been here, and out of that 10, 8 of them have stayed with us and been actively put on a qualification.
So that's 80%. That's really good. Without breaking confidentiality, what about the other two? Did they just make an informed decision, or you don't need to share that if it's not appropriate? But it's always quite interesting.
No, I was given an update. L&G are very good at still linking with people that move on or finish. They get ready to work to see if they've went on to college or other things. One of the candidates is still unemployed and no doing much to find a job was the quote that was used. And the other girl has been enrolled in a part-time college course for a totally different industry. She's doing beauty and something therapy. So she realised that childcare wasn't really her area of where she wanted to be, but she has actively went on to a college course since then. So I think we're just lucky with the spec that we give L&G and B&G, the other training provider, of what we expect and what our candidates that are coming for interview. So I think by the time they've filtered through the process and got them to us, that maybe those that are less suited have already been kind of sent on other directions, or they may have went into other nurseries, had placements there, not done so well, and we don't know about it. And by the time they've came to us as a second placement, then they've developed or changed their strategy. So, as I said, it's working for us as a growing company. It's allowing us to grow as a team, nurture as a team, and develop in-house. And as I said, Dion has actually qualifies on the 17th of March this year and will be staying with us as a qualified practitioner. She's a vital part of the team, and we would have hated to lose her. With a number of places, take them on, keep them on as an apprentice, and once they qualify, send them off, and then get another apprentice in because of the wage bill. And that's not the way we work at present. The reason being is if you've put all that time and energy and nurture for 18 months into someone, it would be absolutely ludicrous to hand them and let them go elsewhere where they can continue to enhance and grow as part of your team.
Okay, thanks, Lorraine. There's a question from Lindsay just come into the chat box. Is it straightforward for you as a busy employer working with multiple local training providers?
I actually like the fact that I have 3 different providers that we use. The reason being is that they all go out to training on different days, which means I'm not losing 3 or 4 candidates all on the same day out to go to their college class or off the floor for their mentor to come in and do assessments. They also do the qualification in different ways, so they're all on different projects at different time, which allows our junior staff to share and start the mentoring program. I've done that project. I can give you that. That book's really good for this, or I'm just about to start that. Can you help? I know you've just finished it. So it adds a dynamic of allowing the junior staff to have greater control and share experiences even at that basic level. And it also means that due to the providers all coming in at different points, there's always an assessor on a week-to-week basis within the service. So it means that if somebody's been off or fell slightly behind, they're not getting to run away or be weeks down the line without any kind of support. So yes, juggling it can be hard. Yes, some days when you're short-staffed, you think, I don't need this. But we've we took an oath to say that we were going to support and mentor and get these people through these qualifications, and it's my responsibility to accommodate that and support the staff member to achieve the goal. So yes, it's straightforward to a point until somebody goes off on holiday or somebody's sick or you've got a crazy day like Halloween or something and you've got parties and it's the one day that they want. But the trainers are very good and they're very respectful of the service, and they keep the restraints of the staffing down as much as they possibly can without it hindering their qualifications. So far so good.
I was saying just before I forgot to unmute my microphone was to thank Lorraine very, very much, because she's given a real insight into how positive working relationships are developed with all the stakeholders in the employability work that she does. I'm delighted to pick up on some of the positive aspects of preparation for placement, the induction and the collation of evidence, because these are things we'll be focusing on the face-to-face session on the 17th of March, so that's really good. And it's been lovely to hear about how just what a nice supportive environment it is. There's investment in the young people, and if you invest in young people you get returns, and that's what Lorraine has just identified in a really nice way today. Lovely to hear about stories, particularly about Dion there and her success, and also that she'll be graduating, if that's the right word, on the 17th of March, the day that we'll all come together there. So thank you very much. Just a couple of comments there. Pauline, good presentation, lots of best practice to be shared with others. Yeah, and we'll certainly be talking about that on the 17th of March. And Marguerite there, great presentation. I found it really insightful and positive. Yeah, real positive working relationships within a supportive environment there.